and they got some big men down low who are able to put up some points and get rebounds for them. And so, Kentucky, to me, they're the Alabama of of college basketball. The way they recruit, and now they haven't won the championships Alabama's won, but they've consistently been in there every single year, and
Yeah.
they're going to continue to. I saw for their recruiting class next year, or the one that they just signed, they have 5 5-stars and a 4-star. So,
Yeah.
when you're pulling in guys, when you're pulling in 5 5-stars in one class, I mean, it's ridiculous, and that's what you're seeing with Alabama football right now. They pulled in 7 5-stars this year, which doesn't, that just doesn't happen. You're seeing it with Ohio State. There's a reason that Alabama, Ohio State, those teams have been at the top consistently, and it's because of recruiting. And that's where Kentucky is right now. Kentucky's just able to they basically pick their players. They pick who they want to come in. So, I think this is a good Kentucky team this year, and I think it's a team that will be hot at the right time going into the tournament.
Yeah, I hope so. I do like what you said about, Kentucky's kind of like the Alabama. I feel like it's a lot more difficult in basketball to
No, yeah.
consistently win championships. Because, I mean, you got all, like in Division I college basketball, year in, year out, I mean, you got about 20 teams who legitimately have a chance
Yeah.
to win the tournament, College football, you might, like this year, there was only pretty much 2 teams who could have won the national championship, and that was Alabama and Clemson. Were pretty much the only 2 teams. I mean, you could argue a couple others, but college basketball, there are so many teams who have a solid chance to just win 8 games in a row or however many it is in a row and come out on top.
Yeah, and that's what makes college basketball special. That's why people enjoy March Madness. But it's also got a downside to it because the best team doesn't win it every year.
Yeah.
I thought last year Michigan State was one of the best teams in the country, and they got beat in the first round as a 2 seed. Now, while it's their fault that they got beat, I can't remember who beat them, but most of the time when a 15 seed beats a 2 seed, they just have a good day. It's
Yeah.
Michigan State missed some shots, and they had a good day shooting. And so, that's what you get. And everybody that's wanting to extend the college football playoff, that's what everybody's talking about, how you water it down. You start getting these teams in there, and yeah, you might see a team like Penn State this year. They could have popped up and been the hottest team at the time and gone and won it. But they wouldn't have been the best team. The 2 best teams played for the championship this year. And I think we saw that last Monday night. And in basketball, you don't get that every year. When Butler made it and played Duke a few years ago, while it was a great game, Butler wasn't one of the top teams in the country all season long. They just got hot at the right time. And,
Yeah.
we've seen that sometimes with teams that lose 8, 9 games during the regular season, but then they end up making the championship game. While there's another team sitting there that only lost 4 during the regular season, but they just weren't the hottest team at the time and ended up, getting beaten, not making it. But it's what makes March Madness fun. It's always fun when that time rolls around, and we're starting to get into the thick of things with college basketball. It's conference play. You got the first college game day this Saturday at Duke, so it's one of my favorite times of the year outside of football season is right here when conference basketball really starts to pick up and, you head into March Madness.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm really excited. I've never been this excited for any kind of basketball ever. I've always hated basketball, and this year I actually kind of enjoy it. I know there's how many SEC games tonight? Like 4?
Yeah, there's 4
4?
tonight.
Yeah, should be a pretty good night for SEC basketball.
Yeah,
And
especially
really,
when you got teams that, when you look at it now, it's not. You got some good teams playing. I mean, Arkansas and A&M play tonight. You got Arkansas's 13-4, A&M's 9-7. Vanderbilt and Georgia are playing, and Vanderbilt's 8-9, but Vanderbilt has a really good team. They shouldn't be 8-9 at all. They played Kentucky really close last week. Georgia's 11-6, and they've been playing well. And then you got Tennessee and Ole Miss, who are 2 of the bottom teams in the SEC right now, playing tonight. But the big game is coming up here soon, and it's Kentucky at Mississippi State. And this is a game that Kentucky could lose. At Mississippi State, Mississippi State's playing really, really well right now since they lost to Alabama. They've been on a win streak. They beat LSU 95-78, beat Arkansas 84-78 on the road, and then they beat A&M this past Saturday. So, coming up here in about 20 minutes, it's going to be a really good game between those 2 teams.
Yeah, should be good. Got a lot of sports stuff the remainder of the week. Getting really excited. I feel like it's building up to this weekend. Of course, I always look forward to the NFL games. That's just me though. But
Oh yeah,
also got a lot of good
I'm
basketball
looking
games.
more forward to the NFL games, but I'm excited to watch basketball. Now that football's done, you can sit down and actually just watch basketball, and I do enjoy that. And I'm also going to be watching some hockey. You're starting to get closer to playoff time there. They don't start until April, but the games are starting to get up there. The points are starting to get up there. Washington has 64 points right now, which leads the whole entire NHL in points, which is how they gauge getting into the playoffs. And man, Washington and Columbus have been two of the most impressive teams in hockey this year. Columbus at 29-9-4, and Washington at 29-9-6.
Which over half of Columbus's wins came on that one streak. What was it? 15?
Yeah, I think it was 16.
16 in a row. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Now that's impressive to do in hockey. And now over their last 10, they're 6-4. They've cooled off a little bit, but they were definitely the hottest team at the time. And then you got Minnesota, who I think has been a surprise to a lot of people, sitting there at 28-9-5. And I think they barely scraped into the playoffs last year. And now this year they've just been dominating the Western Division.
Yeah.
But it's getting interesting. The Ducks are leading the Pacific, which is not really a surprise. I think the surprise has been at San Jose, sitting at 26-16-2. Hasn't had the year that a lot of people thought they were going to have after they made the Stanley Cup Finals last year. But hockey's one of them sports where it's another one. You got to be hot at the right time. Last year the Ducks got hot in the months of February and March, and I think they went. It was something like 22-3 or something like that over that stretch. But then they went in the playoffs and they weren't hot, and ended up losing in 7 games to Nashville. And San Jose was the hottest team and ended up making it, but Pittsburgh ultimately won the Cup, which Pittsburgh was probably the best team last year besides Washington. Them and Washington were the two best teams. Was it last night that Pittsburgh and Washington played, and I think it was 8-7 was the final?
Yeah, that was last night.
Yeah, and I think the last time that Pittsburgh had scored 8, they beat Washington in like 1988 and beat them 8-7. So that's crazy. That's a crazy score for hockey, though. 8-7.
It really is.
You got to kind of wonder what kind of goaltending was going on in that game. Were they really getting that good of looks, or I kind of wish I
would have just been one of those days.
Yeah, I flipped it on the game, and it was in the second period, and it was already, I think, 3-2 with like 15 minutes to go, and I almost stayed on it, but then I flipped over to Golden State and Cleveland and started watching it and never went back to it, but I wish I would have, because 8-7 is a very, very rare score that you see in hockey. That's obviously once in every 30-year score, considering that was the last time Pittsburgh had won by that score, which was in 1988. So, but yeah, football season is getting close to done. Now, college football's done, NFL is getting close to being done, but a lot of other sports out there going on right now. Just found out the other day, Anderson Silva's fighting at UFC 208, which is, really, really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And you also got the first ever women's 145-pound championship at UFC 208. So, you got UFC going on, you got hockey, you got basketball, and we're about to get right into baseball here in about a month. So, while football's ending, it sucks, but a lot of other sports going on that are really starting to get into the thick of things.
Yeah.
But I think that about does it for us on time, man. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it, and we hope you guys enjoyed it too. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Hiding Our Bias, and follow Tripp at T_Blackmon9. Follow me at Caleb Brooks 28. And, like we said, we just tweet our personal stuff on our personal page, and we tweet out some polls and stuff on the Hiding Our Bias page. I know last week we tweeted out a poll of who is a better quarterback, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, and we've got some good feedback on that poll. I think it's over 50% have Rodgers being better than Brady right now, so that's interesting, and we can talk more about it. If both of them make the Super Bowl trip, we'll talk more about it here in the coming weeks. The comparison between those two, but we had a good episode. We hope you guys enjoyed listening, and we will be back next week.